Hello and welcome to another MSDP tutorial video. This video is the first in a new series of tutorials aimed at Max developers who would like to create their own modules in MSDP2. This first video is required viewing for anyone who hasn't worked in the source code yet, and we'll walk us through the process of getting the source code and setting up the system, setting up your Max system to work with MSDP. So since we're going to be building modules, we want to make sure that we have the most updated tooling at our disposal, and we want to get the recent source code from GitHub. To find the GitHub link, go to the msdp.app website or musicsdp.com website and scroll down to the free-to-use section that's at the bottom of most pages. Here we can see the link that says this source code is hosted on GitHub, and clicking that brings us to the GitHub repository. From here, we can go to the clone or download button, click that, and either clone it if we want to use this, the Git tooling, or we can hit download zip to acquire the entire collection as a zipped package. Once we've downloaded and unzipped the package, we can open up the folder called source code to find all the files related to MSDP. Before we can begin working, there are two things that we need to do. First, we want to make sure that we have all the fonts installed so that everything looks and is formatted appropriately. If we open up the fonts folder, we can see all of the fonts that are being used, and these are all either Google fonts or other open source and or free fonts. These can be installed on both Windows and Mac, and again, this is important to do before we start just to make sure that all the formatting in the program is appropriate. The second thing that we want to do is we want to make one change to our Max preferences. So I've opened up Max, we have the console open, and I'm going to go to Option, Preferences. What we're looking for is the interface section, which is a little ways down, and we want to find the option that says Restore Windows on Launch. This option is toggled on by default, but we actually want to go ahead and turn that option off. What this is going to do is it's going to make sure that MSDP doesn't override any of your normal Max patching when you open up Max after using this tooling. If we leave that on, then every time you open Max, MSDP will launch alongside with it, and it's actually going to launch in a broken state, so it wouldn't work anyways, and it will just get in your way. So again, we're going to go into the preferences, and we're going to turn off the Restore Windows on Launch option. So before we open up the system and get started, I want to show you what's inside the System Files folder so that we can see how things are organized. We will need to come into this a little bit as we work, so it's important to know something about how these things are laid out. I'm going to open up the System Files, and we can see a collection of folders within. Most of these we'll never have to access, but very quickly an introduction. The board files contains all the files related to the system console and the pedal board. The buffers includes all of the waveforms, drum files, and impulse responses. Collections are the system collections. Presets are the system presets. Externals include the handful of Max externals that we use for both Mac and Windows. Images are the MSDP JPEGs and PNGs that are used for a few locations. Includes has all the files that are loaded into subsystems, so things like the poly-tilde files for instruments. The MSDP dials are stored here too. Packages contains the third-party packages that are accessed from within MSDP. And then finally, modules. Now this is the folder that's going to be most important to us as we work. Modules contains all of the patches for the individual MSDP modules. We can see that we have a decent amount of organization, but the folder that's going to be of most interest to us as developers is the templates folder. So all the modules that we see in these folders are loaded into MSDP. The templates folders are special files that we don't see in our build when we work in MSDP. These files are instead for developing. So in the templates folder, we have tutorials, and we have templates. Tutorials will walk you through using certain processes like how to set up dials, how to set up parameters, and how to do things like build tabs. The templates are pre-built MSDP modules in a variety of different systems that can help jumpstart the development process. We're going to spend a lot of time in the templates over these tutorial videos, but it's important that we don't open them just yet. If we open them at this point, things are going to be broken and they're not going to look right. So if we want to be able to open any file in the MSDP system folder and have everything look and run as we expect it to, we first need to run the MSDP launcher. So I'm going to double click this now. We see the loading program window, and then that's replaced with the developer console. So the reason why we have to start with the MSDP launcher is that this patch is going to load all of these internal folders into the Mac search path. If we don't do that, then all of the subsystems in MSDP will not be found, and everything that you try to do in MSDP will not work. So it is critical that we load this on launch. So the developer console gives us access to a lot of functions that we might find useful while we work. For example, we can create a new board, and any signals that we generate as we work will actually be filtered through the developer console. This makes it easy to test things out in the program before we actually launch into a full project. However, if we do want to open up a project, we can use the developer console to access MSDP in a state that is equivalent to the application state. If we want to run the source code as the application, we can use this button at the top, which says Launch and Run MSDP. If we click on that, we'll get the project loader, and we can launch projects and work with them. In this state, MSDP will run just like it does in the application, so we can access the project manager, the user collections, system collections. And typically when I work in MSDP, I do prefer to open up a project so that I have access to all these secondary tools. However, it won't be necessary for most of the work that we're going to do. So at this point, we should be comfortable getting started in the program, and we should be able to start to dive in. Once you have the developer console open, you can navigate back to the modules folder, into the templates, and you can start to explore the tutorials and the templates, which we'll look at together in the following videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back soon with more tutorials.